Hey guys, I'm Sam. There's a lot of AI business models going around right now. AI agencies, automations, self-prompt packs, blah, blah, blah. And in this video, I want to expose to you the massive downside, hidden risks that you have if you are leaping on any of these trends. And I want to show you a better way so that you can protect yourself against that risk and you can build a more enduring, a more evergreen business if that's what you want. So if you're somebody right now who's thinking about starting an AI business or augmenting your current business with an AI stack, with AI technology, please watch this video because I want to show you, and I'm going to try to show you exactly why I think it's building on top of quicksand. You may or may not agree with me, but if you get all the way to the end, hopefully you'll at least understand a few principles about why this wave is going to break on top of all of these business models and how you can actually hedge against that risk. And so yeah, let's go back to my home office because I don't think I can do this whole one in my usual walking style. I'll see.
Hey guys, okay, just back from my walk. Okay, as you can see, I've got kind of a lot to share with you guys. We're going to dive into all of this, but first, just kind of getting started with the overview so I can explain deeper what I started talking to you about on my walk. Yeah, so this will be a longer video, um, and my goal for this video, like, if I can just help one of you out there with a few ideas, a few systems, some new ways of thinking about what's coming next in your business, how to provide value in the market, any of those things, I will feel great about this video. Just one person. And if it does provide any of that value, just, yeah, just provide me a comment down below or something like that so I can get that little boost, that little dopamine boost. All right. So let's just get right into it. I've been doing a lot of thinking and a lot of rethinking, I should say, just on life and business and the massive tidal wave that's coming for so many of our businesses. People like coaches, infopreneurs, knowledge businesses, essentially any business that doesn't have a very deep and wide and defensible moat, which, when I look across the landscape, is kind of most of you, and it's me. So that's pretty crazy. That's kind of scary. So before I get too deep into it, let me just give you the overview of what I'm actually going to cover in this video. So first of all, I want to go over what I see as a massive tidal wave coming for so many of these like founder-led businesses, online businesses, people out there, one man, one woman businesses, solopreneurs, infopreneurs, smaller businesses reliant on the internet. I'm going to go through that wave and cover like specifically what I see of as these three huge risks for AI ecosystem businesses. If you're building AI businesses, you're thinking about augmenting your business with AI, launching a new business, or whatever. And I'm going to show you also, I'm going to give you some thoughts on mindset on how to write it and actually profit from it instead of just being washed out to sea by it. I'm going to kind of go over my thoughts on, why right now your kind of exit liquidity is the way I see it. And I'll explain that phrase in a moment. But for some of these bigger players, like these are a lot of AI service providers. These are sort of the gurus selling those things, and coming along behind them are companies like ChatGPT who actually built the AI ecosystem. And I just want to frame in your mind, I'm not saying that the models that I'm going to talk to you about in this video can't make money. That's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, it can make a shitload of money, sure. I'm saying they're not foundational businesses that you can grow from. They are not evergreen, and there's a lot of massive amount of inherent risk in these business models that you need to be aware of. Okay, so that's what this is about. And I'm going to cover why you need a real edge, to your business, and how to build a moat around your business. I'm going to cover that and kind of give you some ideas. And also just give you a little bit of background on who I am, because I scaled a business, a six-figure business actually, on GPT content, and it turned into a massive loss. A little bit of my background around that, show you some ways to de-risk and deleverage from it and kind of front load your success, and potentially give you a little bit of a better way forward. So let's just jump right into it. So yeah, here we are, folks. Like, if you're still here with me, we are really, I think, standing on the precipice of an enormous technological societal transformation, and it's a hugely risky moment out there for a lot of businesses. But also, there's a ton of opportunity, because in the middle of that friction, right, uncertainty and societal technological change, there's a lot of opportunity right kind of in the middle of that. And this is where you and I are right now, really. And just kind of actually maybe down here. I don't know what your business is, so I'm not going to call that out. But many of us in the AI business space are building things inside of that AI ecosystem. So that's AI automations, AI services like voice callers and bots and AI chatbots and selling prompt packs and blah, 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 right? That it just goes on and on. And so there's an enormous amount of risk to those business models. So just think back to, for example, the internet or the mobile phone, two other big transformative revolutions, maybe in your lifetime, certainly in my lifetime. And like earlier forms of business who didn't adapt quickly, didn't align with those transformative technologies. Social media is another one. They just got swept away in this massive tidal wave of change. And that's really, I think, where we're at right now. So let me just kind of explore this analogy with you, this wave, okay? So just kind of bear with me. Right now, what I see are a lot of people building services and products on the advice of gurus and a lot of smart people out there, a lot of YouTube gurus, whatever, and they're trying to sell you business opportunities, right? Build an AI agency, sell ChatGPT prompt packs on Etsy. I don't know. And if you're doing that, or you're thinking about that, or you're transitioning your business into stuff like that, then you're down here, okay? You're in the flood zone, in the tidal wave zone, because this ecosystem is moving very quickly, and it is rapidly putting anybody at risk who is doing these sort of low value forms of productized businesses, okay? And right now, the people who are selling these opportunities for you are making a lot of money, right? And the way I see it is, they are kind of, you are exit liquidity for them and their business model. And what do I mean by that? What is exit liquidity? Quite simply, it means that they are pulling cash out of a market that is going to crash, and you are the one providing that cash. So you're buying their courses, you're buying their masterminds, you're buying their automation templates, their automation packs, all of this stuff. And actually, coming along behind that is a massive tidal wave that's going to crash all of those hedge businesses, all of those sort of small ecosystem businesses that are just cashing in on exploited loopholes. Okay, so that's exactly what I mean. They're pulling money out of the first wave of these types of businesses, and their business model is going to crash too, because coming along behind them are the true ecosystem players, right? Google, OpenAI, they are building these deep, deep ecosystems that frankly are going to take everybody out in front of them who isn't, I guess, building in the right way, or doesn't have a true moat, okay? And we'll get into what I mean by a moat. But for smaller businesses like us, there's ways that we also can hedge against that risk to align ourselves with this wave and try to ride the wave instead of just being swamped by it. And we're going to cover all that and more in this video. But let me just kind of zoom out a little bit and take you down to what I mean by this wave, exit, liquidity, tidal wave. That's just really coming in, right? The big wave, the ecosystem players. The little wave, all the gurus who are trying to sell you a business opportunity that is piggybacked on the back of these ecosystem players. And the rest of us, or you, or me, who's on the shore trying to pick up the pieces, right? So if you have one of these business model types, right, like if you are selling chatbots, um, if you have an AI agency that's just focused on low value selling bots or agents or automations that are providing really just sort of a front end on top of somebody else's product, OpenAI, for example, and you're not doing the deep work of really integrating with your clients and all that stuff, right? You're selling, I don't know, chat GPT prompt packs or content, like you're selling content to local businesses. So you have high commodification risk. So what is commoditization? It's when a product or service becomes so standardized, so widely available across different providers that consumers perceive very little differentiation between them other than price. So that's the important part. Like AI automations are kind of a great example of this. And this is a little abstract, but I can go on LinkedIn right now. In fact, um, if I just load up LinkedIn, let me see if I can get that here. All right, so here we go. I loaded up LinkedIn, and this is the first thing I see, right? I created a LinkedIn lead machine. So look how awesome this AI agent looks. And there's no doubt that there's probably a lot of value in here, but the commoditization aspect of this, right? If I open this up, this guy's going to offer it to me as a setup. This is literally the first thing I see in my feed. So all you have to do is comment lead and like the post, and he'll DM you this full workflow, and then you can go and sell it too, right? Okay, well, there's a big problem with that argument, and there's just no, frankly, there's just no business model there. There may be a revenue model. Can you sell this? Yeah, no doubt. Can you hook some clients with it? Yes, no doubt. But there's really nothing to it. And 50, like if I go in down here, good Lord. Okay. 1,400 people want this. Commoditization risk, it's massive. So if you're doing anything with content or automations that are being built on the back of other ecosystems like the OpenAI reasoning models, all these things, right? This is what's going to happen to your business. And within a few months or whatever, there will be nothing to sell here. So that's kind of what I mean by like having a real moat, right? That's the wave that's coming for you. Okay. And I can speak on this matter. I am qualified to speak on this because I built a 6-figure business on the top of scaled up chat GPT content. I'll go into that a little bit more in just a second, right? But so this comes down really, this is the equation here really is it's about the value that you actually provide. So you can go sell an automation to a client, to a business. And if you can hook that deeply into the guts of their business, then you can provide a lot of value. However, if you're not taking those steps and you're not building things around it that help them, that provide value to them, then you're at risk of commoditization, right? Okay, so this is a much deeper existential threat to all of these types of businesses that I want to talk about here briefly. Okay. Recently, Google announced a couple products, Agent to Agent and Agent Space. Agent to Agent is a protocol that allows AI systems to speak to each other in the background and to essentially cross over into other ecosystems. So, I don't know, an agent from Stripe can talk to an agent from Amazon and they can do things together. They can create payments, they can create a functional layer between them. Why is that important? Give me a second. Okay, the next thing they announced was Agent Space, which is essentially a toolkit, a framework to allow AI businesses to build these systems into a user experience. So there is now a framework where anybody can go build agentic experiences and provide that connective layer in the background. What does that sound like to you? Doesn't that sort of sound like the actual internet? What is the internet but protocols that speak to each other that allow you to do things like sell stuff, collect information in forms or whatever, and then they're built into user experiences. So with a single announcement, I don't think many people caught this, but Google launched a freaking torpedo over the entire internet ecosystem, because what they've done is they've built a lot of products here that can actually over time replace the mobile and internet ecosystem and the protocol ecosystem in the background that runs these things. So yes, as a matter of fact, relatively soon, stuff like websites, selling websites, why do you need that? Okay, so let me just show you here. Let me just illustrate this to you. All right, cool. So if here we are, right? My hometown, Olympia, Washington. If you're following the advice of a lot of people on the internet, they're telling you to do something like this, maybe. Go onto Google Maps, search for a high value prospect like roofers. Why are they high value? Because they spend a shit ton of money on marketing. Then, hey, we're going to sell these guys websites. Easy, because with AI now, you can just like go into bolt.new and you can spin up a website, and it takes you 60 seconds almost if you know enough about the client to prompt the machine well enough, and then you're just going to go sell it to them for like $500. Easy, because they don't have a website, right? So you're just going to scroll through here, and these guys all have websites. Holy shit, here's one that does not have a website, and they get good reviews. Why don't they have a website? That's crazy. It's 2025. So what I'm going to do now, if I'm following the advice of a lot of people, is I'm going to go scrape their website, or sorry, they don't have one. I'm going to scrape their Facebook. I'm going to scrape their Google Maps. I'm going to pull out all their reviews. And then I'm going to dump all that into bolt.new. I'm going to spin it up. I'm going to put it on Cloudflare, and boom, I've got a nice, hot, flashy, modern website to go sell this guy. I'll just put it on a staging URL, right? And then just go send it to these guys and be like, hey, look, I checked out your website. Or sorry, getting tired already. Grab a little bit of water here. But you get the point, right? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some cold outreach to this guy. I've got a beautiful website built up, and I'm just going to say, I built this for you. Do you want to buy it? And it's already built, so they already have something to look at. There's already a demo, right? Easy peasy. Actually, you could do this right now. So easy, except for there's one huge problem. There's no evergreen business model here. Why? Google already knows everything about these people, and Google owns Google Cloud, which is hosting basically, and Google owns Gemini, which is the coding and text models in the background. And so with a single update, okay, one update, your business model is gone, because all Google needs to do is come in here and add a little button that says build your website with AI, because they know everything about this company. They know their phone number, their testimonials, everything about them on the back end. Even one update, this business model is over. Okay, so now hopefully you've got an idea of the risk, the incoming tidal wave risk from these ecosystems. So let me just kind of zoom back out, and hopefully now you just sort of, yeah, you understand, right? There's ecosystem risk, there's a lot of risk here, and any of these businesses that are sort of trying to just exploit loopholes, like the maps loophole I just showed you, well, in an update they'll be gone. So just think back to, like, I guess it was a few weeks ago when ChatGPT released their image update, and you can now go in and just like get any image, and they're like amazing. Think about that tidal wave that just came for all the image companies out there that were selling little gimmicky AI image things. Like, they're all toast. That's over. Okay. So let me jump into just a little bit about my background. Like, who am I? Why am I even qualified for this? I just want to explain this briefly to you guys. I know this is already long, right? Okay. I'm Sam. 15 years I've been in the trenches building online businesses, agencies, startups. I built an agency. I built a startup. I took it from zero to $100,000 a month. Holy shit, stuff was hard then. Now it's easy. I wish I had AI, right? I scaled a personal business to 6 figures, and I did that with Chat GPT before Chat GPT was sort of cool everywhere, before they released their first consumer model. People like me, SEOs and affiliates, were using the API, the GPT APIs, and we were just building massive businesses using this loophole of exploiting this content gap, right? Where, because people were still out there selling, there were still writers and SEO writers and editors and all these things. And a lot of us uncovered these tools early on, and we started using it and we scaled. And that's where the risk was, okay? Because honestly, commoditization set in early in that industry, and it basically took out my whole business. Because what happened was, and what will happen with a lot of AI content businesses, is it just becomes slop. It becomes cheap and easy, and it becomes commoditized, and then it's over for the early players. All right. And just to sort of, I know that people love screenshots, like revenue shots and stuff. I'm not a super big fan of it, but I really did grow this as hard and as fast as possible. So I know what I'm talking about here. Like with the high level affiliate program, it's still ticking 5K a month. I sold everything from gold IRAs and so many more. I mean, we scaled as many SEO affiliate programs as we possibly could, and then the tidal wave washed over us, took us out. And I mean, the biggest thing I did right was I had focused a lot on recurring revenue products. A little bar I just dropped there for you, something that you might want to consider, because if the tidal wave comes for you, maybe you need something underneath that supporting you, right? So zooming back out and zooming back in. So these are, and I think I've talked through most of them kind of already, but these are what I consider the big risks coming for your business right now. Okay. Platform or ecosystem risk. I've gone into that already. If you're selling stuff on Google Maps, you have ecosystem risk. You are exposed to that. The one update away risk, I already gave that one away for you too. For example, when ChatGPT updated their models and their products to provide images, one update probably killed a lot of people who are out there selling ChatGPT images, content, or whatever. And then finally, and we're going to get deeper into this, the zero edge risk, having no moat. Meaning, a moat is proprietary, defensible products and content that only you and your business can deliver. And if you have that, it makes it extremely hard for anybody to take it away from you. And I like to use Zillow as an example, okay? Zillow. Everybody knows Zillow. It's like practically an adjective. It's like Google or something. Everybody goes to Zillow for housing data, housing information about their house or house they're looking at, real estate agents, whatever. There's no way you would go to the MLS personally, probably, right? Okay, so Zillow is a great example of having an amazing moat, because what they did is they did a lot of work to pull together all these proprietary sources like local MLSs, real estate stuff, and put it in and turn it into something that's really easy for consumers and real estate agents to get information from and to get value from. And it would be extremely hard for anybody to take that business model because of all the work they did to tie together all those data sources, and nobody else really has that. It would be very hard. So that is a good example of a moat. So how can you do it as a small founder, as just an individual business? We're going to get a little bit deeper into that in a moment here. And also, how can you understand where you're at in this tidal wave, in the flood zone? Like, how can you assess your own risk in your business or the business idea that you're thinking about? Okay, so actually, let me zoom down and let me explain this to you, okay? So the other day on a coaching call, we were evaluating the risk for a client's business and trying to find ways to hedge against it, to build a moat. And that was amazing, by the way. But what we did on that call actually is we sat down and we developed a custom GPT. It's an AI business risk evaluation GPT. And yeah, really, so what the GPT tries to accomplish is really to, I still need to update it some, but honestly, the goal of it is it tries to score your business based on all those three big risks I identified for you, or your business idea. Expose some information about those risks to you so that you can just have better information on the market you're trying to enter, and how quickly that market's going to change for you. Okay. And it tries to actually give you ways to create a deeper moat around it by building out deeper offers and things like that. Okay. So if you actually want that, I'll leave the link below. The link is go.samrexford.com/AI-risk-GPT. I'll put it down below in the description, okay? And it'll just take you to a page like this. And the only cost is your email address. No big deal, right? Okay, so let me just kind of show it to you, hopefully. Yeah, so for example, I want to create an AI automations agency selling N8N automations to roofers to help them get more leads. Most people, when they fall into the spell of some kind of guru selling them something, this is about as deep as their idea goes, right? I mean, they're like, oh, hell yeah, it sounds great. I go onto Google and I find some roofers and I sell them this cool AI agent. So, of course, that's where the risk sets in for you and for all these people who are jumping on these different ideas. There's so much that you don't know, and there's a massive black box and a lot of work that you have to do. I don't care if it's you have AI running in the background for you. There's just so much you don't know. There's so many unknowns. The more that you can illuminate those, the more that you can build your own map and you're not running into dead ends, the less risk you will have also overall, right? So that's all this guy tries to do. He's loaded up in his knowledge base, has a lot of information to try to help you uncover your own ecosystem risks. And he's going to ask you questions, and that I think is one of the coolest things about it. Risk. So just for this idea, immediately he gave back an 8 out of 5 out of 10 high risk. And he's going to score you for the three risks that I showed you, right? The no edge or the AI wrapper risk, the one update away risk, and the ecosystem platform risk. So again, just the link below if you want it, totally free. This is very high risk, and I think this does a really good job, right? So for example, the one update away risk, this is pretty good stuff. Improvements in general purpose AI models or integrations into lead gen platforms like high-level HubSpot or even AI enhanced tools and roofing CRMs can commoditize what you're offering. So if OpenAI or a vertical SaaS for contractors adds drag and drop automation templates with built-in AI lead gen, your offer loses relevance overnight. Exactly, right? So these roofers already have a CRM or something, and you're selling them a lead gen automation tool, and one update with the CRM in the background, because they've figured this out too, and it's going to be like free for the roofers or just a tiny add-on to make them stickier. Your business is over, right? So then it's actually going to try, and this is where this thing gets really cool. It's going to try, if you're still sold on your business model, it's going to try to give you ways to build out that moat, make it defensible. You're operating in a commoditized space using public tools, N8N, LAMs. There's very little proprietary IP data or domain-specific workflow. And this is actually pretty good. I did a good job. I'm sorry. Okay. To reduce risk by building a moat, here are some ideas. Deep domain expertise. Combine AI with roofing specific sales knowledge and embed that into every workflow. So that's harder for the update in the background to take away from you if you have a lot of really, really deep knowledge. Proprietary workflows and data. Collect and refine roofing lead gen performance data. Use it to fine-tune flows and potentially AI agents. Proprietary data, like we talked about with Zillow, is a way to build a deep moat because it's much harder for somebody to take that from you. Proprietary IP, proprietary services that nobody else has, okay? If you're getting your N8N automation off of LinkedIn, like I showed you, 1,000 people already have them. A hybrid model, this is kind of cool. So you could add essentially proximity offers, coaching and consulting, and that gets you closer to them. They learn more from you and they start to get proprietary information, ideas from you that nobody else has. And unique integrations. Okay, so finding different ways to integrate your service. And then it can go much deeper and you can just keep talking to it and you can keep learning more and more and more. Okay, so that's just what I wanted to sort of show you there. Again, you can just get it below. All right, so back to the present, the scary wave. Let's so remember the wave, right? It wants to come for you. It wants to come for your commoditized business, for your AI service, your agent. So now I want to make that less scary for you, okay? Because I know that's kind of like, oh shit, like everything's kind of it's over. But let's talk about waves in general and why actually everything, like the way I see it is everything in life is a wave. And if you know how to ride it, if you know how to understand it, and you can build into your entrepreneurial mindset, like what you are and your values and who you are, you can, you can do this. This will flow into every aspect of your life if you internalize this idea, your relationships, your businesses, your systems, your processes. All right, let's get into it. Let me see if I can explain it, okay? I just went through this with a coaching client, and he kind of had that like moment of like, oh damn, this is me, like this is me and my relationships and everything. So first of all, an important thing I just want to explain to you guys. It's a little bit of a tangent, but this is so important. Having exposure is everything, okay? And the fact that you may actually be in the path of this AI wave and you're actually trying stuff there and you're building stuff there, you're already 100 steps ahead of all the other businesses that are ignoring it, who have their head in the sand, who are just like, they don't even see the wave coming, but you do. You can see it, now, hopefully. So that is exposure. And I think I got a whole thing here. Yeah, so let's do that real quick. So exposure, actually being in the path of that wave is good because it just tells me that you are exposed, not in a weird, creepy way or a naked way or something. But you're in it means that you're in the opportunity end zone, right? Like you're standing down there, you're ready to catch the ball, and most people aren't. They have their head in the sand. And just remember, right? Like this is cliche, it's pithy, but with a rising tide, if you have boats in the water, you're going to benefit, okay? While everybody else sinks, right? So in theory, the more exposure that you have, the more in the path of the opportunity you have, the more boats you have in the water, the more learning you're doing, the more investing you're doing in yourself, in your business, the better chance that you really have to survive whatever big thing is going to happen, whatever black swan event is just going to take the freaking world economy out. Well, you are already exposed to these things. You know more about the next guy down the block. You can maybe sell him something different. You can help him. There's so much more. Just by being there, you have an advantage. Okay, so that's the importance of exposure, really, for all entrepreneurs. This has been big for me in a lot of different ways. When COVID hit, I was just somebody who had already been working from home forever, and I happened to be selling products about working from home, and then all of a sudden everybody needed to work from home, and my business exploded when everybody else was going home. And I'm not bragging about that because that was just a fucked up thing for everybody, right? But what I'm trying to say is, like, I was already exposed to a giant opportunity that was coming. So there was hidden benefits to that. And if you're not exposed, there's hidden risks to that, okay? So just by being here with me today, you do have some exposure. If you're thinking about these ideas, you're already hopefully better than the guy up on the beach who's not even looking, doesn't even see the freaking tidal wave coming, and is just gonna get boom like reamfied. Okay, so everything is waves, and I want to explore this idea with you. All right, where did the drawing tool go? Okay, this is most people in life. They are on a constant wave. Okay, peaks and valleys, troughs and high. Everything is good up here, everything is bad down here. Everything's good up here, everything's bad down here, and so on. And this is what happens to like everybody in every realm of their life. But we're talking about business, okay? So what happens is you're down here, and you have a desire, and you have something that you want right up here, and that might be a business that is, that brings you a lifestyle that you want. Okay, so you're down here and you don't have that thing. So what you do is you hustle and you work and you grind and you build and you sell and you automate and you hustle and you grind and you build, and you get up here and you're like, woo. Okay, what happens up here? But in financial markets, what happens up here is people, the edge that they built on the way up, all the skills they built, everything they built, they lose because they become complacent. And this is what happens. If you think maybe you can think of your relationships, your businesses, everything, you start to become complacent and you're like, I have what I want and that feels good. And so you start to deleverage yourself, and you start to step back and you start to actually accumulate more risk in your business because your exposures to risks and hidden risks are suddenly there again because you've taken your eye off the ball. So something big happens, something huge happens, the wave breaks. For example, in my last business, the wave was ChatGPT, and you crash back down to the bottom. Okay, boom, and you're starting over back from zero. Okay, so this is important. And the problem is going from 0 to 1, right? 0 to 1 is insane effort, in just physics, right? Like my friend Michael just told me this. He framed it for me that way. Momentum going from 0 to 1, just in the physical realm, there's much more effort. It's much more work to get you there than it is going from 1 to 2 or 2 to 4 or 4 to 10. Okay. So every time you start back from 0, you have to do an enormous amount of work to get back to the top where you want something or you needed something. And then you become complacent and you crash back down and you spend an enormous amount of effort, right? Huge effort getting back up to 1, and then you crash. So this is the wave that most people are on. And you can extrapolate to your personal life, your relationships, maybe your dating life is like this: 0 to 1, 0 to 1. Okay, we don't want this, right? Let me find a way to erase this. All right, I figured out the whole eraser thing. So look, first of all, I want you to understand, you can never really get off the wave. In my view, I don't know, you can disagree with me in the comments. In my view, everything in life is a wave. You're up and then you're down. You're up and then you're down. You're up and then you're down. It's good and bad. It's just a constant, you're just on a constant sort of back and forth. The key is to mitigate that, to change the dynamic of the wave, because you don't want to be on the 0 to 1 wave. You want to be on the 0 to 2, back down to 1, up to 3, down to 2, 4. So you want to be on this wave actually, right? Higher lows and higher highs. This is the wave I want to be on. assuming you agree with me that you can never really escape the wave in life, this analogy, you will have ups and you will have downs. You will have ups, you will have downs. What you want is the foundation, the lows to be getting higher. Okay, so that's one of the huge things I did correctly in the last commoditized AI business that I had built on the back of GPT content. I had built a lot of recurring revenue in the back end so that when my business crashed down to zero, right, I still had the almighty dollar coming in. So that allowed me time to get to build again, to go back up to 2. So in this wave, what we're doing is we're going from, 0 to 2, 2 to 1, and 1 to 3. Okay, that's what we really want. This is the wave that I hope you want to be on. So in order to do that, you need to have built deep systems into your business, recurring revenue. There's a lot of things. I mean, I think this could be a whole different video, really. But point is, if you have systems, right, to build content, for example. Now, if something comes along and breaks your process, you can fall back on your system. If you have recurring revenue, okay, and something comes along and takes away all your clients, you still have a foundation to build from. You're not going back to 0. You don't have to do all the effort to get back up to 1. You're not starting over. You still have some momentum. So this is what I'm asking you to consider right now. As you have some exposure. What you need to do to ride this huge tidal wave coming appropriately is start thinking about building a business, not a revenue stream. Like, remember I said, can selling AI automations on LinkedIn make you money? Absolutely. And if you can make enough fast enough, maybe you never have to work again. I don't really know. I don't know if I could do that necessarily. But what I do know is that if you want to live and build a business that has impact for years and maybe will actually survive artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, you need something far deeper than that, and you need an edge. Okay, you need an edge. You need that Zillow Edge. You need that Google ecosystem edge. You need the OpenAI edge. You need some kind of edge, but scaled down, right? Okay, you can't build Zillow, or maybe you can now with a click of a button and a prompt. I don't really know. But scale down to your small one-man or one-woman business where you are selling services or you are selling code or whatever. You need an edge. You need a defensible moat. Okay, so let's let's cover that really quick. So this is the edge, okay, up here. We talked about the Zillow Edge. So the edge of you, okay. What does that mean? And I love this little castle guy up here because hopefully he's got a little moat around him. Just like a little moat, and let's draw his little moat. Okay, so this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to build this little moat. This is castle is your business, right? Okay, so you can be your own edge. And what do I mean by that? It's extremely hard for the AIs right now to take away who you are and repackage that and sell that. I don't know, maybe down the road. But what you know, who you are, your backstory, what you've overcome, the problems that you've solved, these huge, huge, big business problems, that's your edge, who you are. And it's much deeper than just the fact that who you are is inherently proprietary, IP on some level. People want it, okay? It's sellable if you can package it in the right way. And there's something deeper there, actually. There's something down here, and I'll talk about that in a moment. KLT, okay? So again, the Zillow Edge is proprietary packaging around data. Like, you find ways to take information, data, ideas, and you build something unique around that. That's very hard for someone to take away. So if, for example, it's AI automations, An example could be you build such a unique structure around and you're not out there hustling it and giving it away on LinkedIn as freaking lead magnets. Very hard for other people to take that from you, okay? And it provides real value. And value is key in all of this. And I like this little blue guy. So value is the most important thing, okay? Because value helps you build a moat. What is business? Business is just providing, um, solving problems with something valuable and putting it in front of a marketplace somewhere, and then they buy it. And you have a problem when it becomes commoditizable, because then everybody's selling it. It's just becomes slop, right? The more value you provide, the more of a moat you have, and the more proprietary, the more personal your value is through proximity and through KLT, the more of a moat you can build. Okay, so that's what building a moat is really about. It's about these things. What is KLT? KLT is know, like, and trust. Know, like, man, I'm terrible at this. Okay, trust. Now, if you are selling anything over, I don't know, $100, you need this factor bad, man, because people buy spontaneity buys with their card all day long and just swipe it if they want it. And $100, depending on where you are in the world, that's maybe a lot or not a lot, but it's a spontaneity buy in my world. I don't think much about it. I don't care who's selling it necessarily. I don't care who's behind it. I don't care about the brand. I just care about the whatever it does. When you start getting above that, you need this factor, especially in our world of coaching, services, info products, courses, etc. They make these big promises and they have big dollars attached to them. So if you're Alex Hormozy, you can sell whatever you want, man. Like, you can just put it out there in the marketplace and your followers just buy it up. Why? Because of this factor right here. Know, like, and trust. Because he has done so much work getting people to know him, to understand him, to like him, and to trust him. He can put high ticket offers in front of them all day long and sell it all day long. If you are doing like faceless AI videos, you don't have that factor. Okay, you don't have the KLT. You've got no personal mode. You don't even have a Zillow Edge mode because freaking NVIDIA made that for you, and you've got no way to ascend people. And maybe you do. Okay, so what is the value stickiness ladder? Because this one's kind of interesting, I think. This is just an idea that I was kicking around. Okay, the value stickiness ladder is basically, this is what we want to do with this, okay? So we want to build this moat through some of these different edges that I told you about by creating a sticky value ladder, all right? So let's check that out. So let me explore this with you, okay? Because again, like I said, a moat could just be, it can be many things. And if you think about OpenAI, for example, when DeepSeek hit, you realize suddenly that they didn't really have a moat around that product. So now they're building an ecosystem around it to create that moat. So that's what you can do, is build essentially an ecosystem of products, proximity to yourself, offers, proprietary information, proprietary frameworks, things that nobody else has, through unique data and your own unique skills and your own unique background, and essentially trying to solve these big problems here: tension and churn and commodification, right? Because if you're in the path of that way and you have a commodifiable, God, that word is hard, business, then you have a lot of different risks, as we've discussed. And then you have just a lot of basic business risks, stuff like retention, like people leaving, a lot of churn. There's just so many things, right? So what is the value stickiness ladder? It is designed to ascend people deeper and deeper into your personal ecosystem and make them and your relationship with them stickier and sticky. And what I mean by sticky is it's harder for them to leave. Okay, it's harder for them to leave your business. Okay, so down here is these very, these people selling AI agents or something, right? Highly commodifiable, a lot of risk, and this is hard to do. Okay, and they can maybe make like, pretty soon they're going to be making nothing, as hopefully I've already proved to you, but right now a very low amount of money, and they can get washed away by that wave, right? Boom, it's over. Now, okay, if you're selling AI agents, what if you sell them CRM, right? And you get deeply integrated into their actual sales process. All right. So there's some stickiness there. Now, this is a really sticky one actually, because once somebody gets hooked into a CRM and you are the one that manages that and you are the one that helps provide the value for the sales team and everybody involved, it's super painful and there's a lot of friction to actually leave that system, okay? Because businesses are focused on winning business, not tinkering in the background. So if you can ascend them into something deeper, like a deeper integrated layer of technology into their business, this is a big way to get stickier and go up the ladder. Okay, so we want to just keep ascending. So in here, I'm just throwing ideas out there for y'all. So this would be like proximity. And this is very much higher ticket. And what do I mean by proximity? I mean selling access to you yourself, to proximity to you. Okay, so you could do that through like WhatsApp or Zoom calls, or even like going to their place of business and getting consulting and coaching them. Okay, so proximity offers are stuff like coaching, consulting, one-on-one help. And the more you do that, the more you're building KLT, know, like, trust, and the deeper and deeper into your moat, your moat grows, and the deeper and deeper integrated into their business you become, and the harder and harder it is to commodify your business, take you out, and replace it with something else. Okay, and you're just gonna keep going up this ladder. So this could be building in proprietary data, data that nobody else has. I mean, that's what most businesses in the internet age are. You've heard the phrase, data is the new oil. This is very much true for businesses, everything from Google to OpenAI. Private data that nobody else has is a huge moat, and this is like huge dollar like value, right? Okay, and then you can ascend up further. Now think about how hard, if you build valuable data into their business, how hard is it going to be for them to leave? Very hard, okay? Because that's the Zillow factor right there, right? All right. Oh man, this is hard. Man, I need a pen or something to do this. Now you can just take it to the moon from here. Like a good one would be like, masterminds. This is like another proximity offer, but super high ticket. Where you're actually, like, for example, you're doing a 2-day intensive to help their sales team get better and to help them maximize these guys and optimize this and on and on and up. So this would be, you could sell this for 100K, like, if it was valuable enough. And remember, the key to all of these is value, solving problems in a way that actually grows their business. Okay. So I hope that's helpful. And I just want to show you at this point kind of that there actually is a better way to tie all this stuff together and not have so much exposure to risk and still kind of have exposure to this incredible opportunity that's coming. I've coined the incredibly silly phrase of agentpreneur because I wasn't sure what else to call it. Maybe I'll change it. This is not a true product yet. This is something that I'm piloting. It's an early version of a program, mostly one-on-one coaching. This is only for a very select few people, but you don't need me to do this. I want to just kind of explain to you that if you can do all the things that I told you in this video, you can build a human-led, AI-augmented business, become an agenticpreneur. I am not saying don't sell AI, don't work in AI, have that exposure. What I am saying is that it's easier to build a moat around you personally, around really defensible offers and products, things that really matter and provide a lot of value. And right now, I think the best way to do that, because you still want that KLT, right? But of course, that's the human-led side of it. That's the Alex Hormozy side. But you want to reduce a lot of you don't want to be like, there's just so many things that you can be automating away that are truly a valuable thing to do, and you don't have to spend so much time on. And that's where the AI augmented part of that is. These are like really, I'm working with a couple people right now and helping them build this deeply. So these are founder-led businesses that are AI augmented. They're lifestyle passion businesses where you actually kind of want to do it. It's actually fun. Like, I'm enjoying this so much. You guys don't know how much AI I'm using in the background. They're product led, meaning they're value led. But agent supported, AI agent supported. Okay, so AI is supporting your business efforts. It's augmenting it, your funnel. It's not the product. Remember, if AI is the product, it's highly commoditizable. And there's less friction across these different domains of the business. So that helps build the know, like, and trust to sell it. And they have deep, deep moats. They're highly sticky. And let me actually see if I can give you guys an example. Okay, I had to go get permission from this client. He's cool with it, but just showing you some of our text here. So he's built a whole product and service to serve people who want to build a specific type of app, like a specific type of product. So it's pretty niche, but he's doing it all with AI, and it's very small, narrow market, but there's huge opportunity there, but it's kind of an indefensible. It's code, right? So code is kind of not defensible right now in a way because it's just so easy to spin up. So building an offer around that mattered, that was so good that people had to buy it, want to buy it, and it's actually sticky, and they want to talk to him, etc. That was the key. That was the trick. And he's already got really good. He's got leads already coming in, asking him for demos. He's already sharing his lead magnets. And like, I'm not even done with this guy, man. Like, honestly, I was kind of like, whoa, slow your roll, dude. But he took everything we worked on over just a few days, and the guy's already getting traction, right? So that's it. So that's really that's it. Like I said, I'm sort of piloting this because I want to build like a really easy to follow program for a lot of people, for people who are thinking about starting a business built on AI, or transitioning their current business, have built business in the past, and want to get into this AI wave. Okay, it's very select. You have to be right for this program, and we'd have to do an application process where I talk to you and understand exactly what you're doing, etc. But I want to pilot it because, and of course, just trying to figure that out together. If you're right for it, that's not going to cost you anything. And if we were to do it together, I'd probably give you some kind of a discount because the actual program is not fully developed yet. So just know that I could probably only take a couple people. If it's something you're interested in, awesome, whatever. Again, below this video is a link to that AI risk assessment GPT. So definitely grab that. I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope this was helpful.